Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, the 15th of October, and I would like to welcome you to a brand new episode of the Beyond the Mat podcast, episode number 9. That is right. We are flying through the numbers. It is going to be number 10 next week. We are flying. I hope you are all doing well. I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for tuning in once again. Do me a favor, wherever you are watching the podcast, make sure you do leave a like, a thumbs up, a comment. Tell me if you're enjoying the podcast, what you would like to see from the podcast going forward. I've got lots of great things planned for the podcast. Initially, it was all about kind of getting things running and getting some consistent viewers. And that is what I believe we already have now in the podcast, 9 episodes in, or at least the 8 prior to it. I've been very, very fortunate to have a consistent base across all of the platforms. So thank you so much. I'm looking at interviews. I've started reaching out to wrestling personalities who I think may be interested in joining us for an episode of the Beyond the Mat podcast. I think that is how we elevate this. That is how you guys get the most value out of watching or listening, wherever that may be. So, first of all, thank you. If you're listening on YouTube, give me a comment, a thumbs up. If you are over on Spotify, Apple, a couple of other podcast apps that I hadn't heard of as well. The other day, someone said, but wherever you're listening, thank you so much. Let me know. I appreciate it. Welcome. We've got a lot to unpack today on episode number 9 of the podcast. We probably start this past weekend, Perth, Australia, and how good has it been for us UK fans to watch wrestling at 1 p.m. in the afternoon? Well, I'm not going to be able to give you an answer because I've been in work when I was in work Friday and Monday, which means I couldn't watch the shows live, Friday Night SmackDown, Monday Night Raw, and then we were actually away on Saturday, so I couldn't even watch Crown Jewel live. I didn't get to see a single episode of WWE live this weekend, and it upsets me because we did get that extra beautiful start of 1 p.m. Did you enjoy it? Is that too early for you? Do you work as well, so it was a struggle? Let me know. It's tough, right? Because we ask for these earlier starts always, but when they happen, they don't always suit. 1 p.m. starts just does not work for me. 6 p.m. starts, however, sign me up for all of them. Nevertheless, do you know what? We're in a moment right now. These last 3 shows, I'm going to say it, WWE have been on fire. We've had really good shows. We'll start with Friday Night SmackDown, a really enjoyable show. I was super happy to get home. And you know when you kind of have that slump where you're like, oh, am I really going to have to stay awake for SmackDown tonight? Obviously, as you know, I normally do the lives at about 11:30 on a Friday night or a Monday night. Didn't have to do that this week. It was a little bit like, okay, well, at least we're starting a little bit earlier tonight. But you know what? Friday Night SmackDown delivered. Sami Zayn, another US Open. And how enjoyable was it? A very good match there. It was just a great night for Friday Night SmackDown. Super happy with it. And that's not normal. That's not normal. We go on to Crown Jewel on Saturday. And can I just say, Perth, Australia absolutely showed up. Like, that crowd was phenomenal. In that RAC arena, I think it was like 15,000, but 15,000 Aussie strong, man. Aussie. They absolutely tore that house down. They were incredible all night, and they were feeling it. They really were feeling it, as they should. Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns kicking off the show. If you were to watch last week's podcast, you would have seen that I predicted the OTC Roman Reigns to win that match in the Australian Street Fight. But as time went on, as the week went on, and I thought about it a little bit more, if you saw my Discord predictions or my TikTok predictions, you'll see that I changed that pretty quick. Bronson Reed came out with the victory, as I eventually predicted. I didn't predict that on the podcast. I predicted it on the other social channels. Very happy with that prediction, but it just makes sense, you know? Bronson Reed, this was a crazy stat, right? Bronson Reed is the second man this decade to pin Roman Reigns. The other being Cody Rhodes. How incredible of a stat is that for for Bronson Reed? You look at some of the guys that he's pinned in the last 12 months. Seth freaking Rollins is also on the list. Bronson Reed is on a tear right now, and we'll get to Bronson Reed when we finish talking about Monday Night Raw in a second. But that was, I think, a very, very good match. I was overall very happy with that match. Stephanie Vaquer defeating Tiffany Stratton to become the Crown Jewel champion. This match went by very quickly. It was actually the shortest of the card, being 10 minutes. And I don't know if I've ever said this about either a Stephanie Vaquer match or a Tiffany Stratton match, but this was I don't want to say sleeper because the card was very stacked and this was a good match. It was just very short. But this match, out of all of the matches, was the one I didn't react the same to. This was, and that's not because it was a bad match. It just wasn't up against what it was against. It only got 10 minutes allocated. Stephanie Vaquer made pretty short work of Tiffany Stratton. And I'm seeing people online say that Tiffany Stratton has been buried. And I'm like, what? Tiffany Stratton's not been buried. Tiffany Stratton is the longest reigning current champion in the WWE. So let's hang fire with that for a little minute. Stephanie Vaquer has been incredible all year long. She's won 4 championships. As she noted in her post-match interview, she said she's the first wrestler to win 4 championships in the space of a year. And she is absolutely right to say that. She is, I mean, if we're going to count the Crown Jewel Championship, but we will for her sake. So she won the NXT title, she won the North American title, other way around that is. Then she came to Monday Night Raw, she pretty much picked up the Raw Women's Championship pretty quickly against Io Sky in what was one of the best matches this year. When I think of my favorite matches this year, they all fall down to, or a lot of them at least, fall down to women, and especially the women triple threat matches that we've had. We've had some really, really good ones. WrestleMania is a good example of that. But yeah, unfortunately, this match only did get 10 minutes, but it was a fun match nevertheless. But in comparison to what it was up against, this could have absolutely been best match of the night, but for some reason, only allocated 10 minutes. Nevertheless, it was a fun match. It was a great finish, and Stephanie Vaquer is your Crown Jewel Women's Champion. I'm going to get to the Cena match last. I know it didn't happen in this order, but Io Sky and Rhea Ripley defeated the Kabuki Warriors. This was a fun match. These guys got, these ladies got 20 minutes all in total. Io Sky once again proving why she's one of the best female wrestlers in the world. Rhea Ripley, the fans were going crazy for her. Really, really good. And the always professional Kabuki Warriors. I'm really enjoying this manipulative Oscar right now, as well as Kairi Sane and the role that she plays. That was a fun match. The crowd were crazy for Rhea, as expected. They pick up the win. I had a pretty good night for predictions, man. I had a really, really good night for predictions. Seth Rollins defeating Cody Rhodes to become the WWE Crown Jewel Champion. There was a lot going into this. In the end, Seth Rollins ended up using the Crown Jewel ring to get that win, knocking out Cody Rhodes. And he goes 3-1 in PLE appearances, or 1 in 22 in total single matches against Cody Rhodes, which is astounding, by the way. These guys had quite a long match, 30 minutes long, and I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed this match. I didn't really. I was honest from the start. I think that Seth does win it. I don't think Cody needs it. But then what I'm thinking with these Crown Jewel matches is what's the actual value that comes out of them? None of them actually progress a certain storyline. You know, nothing's going to continue with Seth in this way, and nothing's going to continue with Cody. That comes from this. You know, Seth Rollins is going to go on to what we're going to speak about in a minute, and Cody Rhodes is probably going to go back to Drew McIntyre now, and they're going to, you know, finish up with that story. So these Crown Jewel matches are very interesting because they don't really lead to anything. You know, Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton are probably not going to meet again for a very long time. That doesn't push a certain story. Stephanie Vaquer looked great Monday Night Raw. She, you know, Roxanne Perez gets in her face and stuff, and I guess that comes off the back of being so successful at Crown Jewel. She had the Crown Jewel Championship around her waist. Nevertheless, I like the matches because they're very much dream matches, right? Seth and Cody, despite us seeing it 4 times across PLEs, they are definitely matches. You know, Seth is a lot of people's favorites. Cody's a lot of people's favorites. Tiffany is a lot of people's favorites. Stephanie Vaquer is a lot of people's favorites. I enjoyed the match. Not match of the night for me, but it's very, very close. Match of the night, man. And I don't even know if we call it a match. It was a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty. It was storytelling at its finest. It was a love story to wrestling. So many definitions to describe what happened between John Cena and AJ Styles on Saturday night or Saturday midday, man. It was just beautiful, right? It was just beautiful, paying homage to all of the greats that have stepped in the ring with John Cena and AJ Styles over the years. Initially, before we even saw the bell ring, John Cena has his special Alicia Taylor announcement, and then he passes over a note to Alicia Taylor to announce AJ Styles. AJ Styles had a beautiful moment right there. The definition of total non-stop action. We want to see if he's going to beat John Cena one final time. A thank you from John Cena and the fans. It was heartfelt. Hit me right here before we had even begun. Before the bell had even rung, my heart was going. I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles. He was one of the first I ever saw do it back in TNA. He is the definition of total non-stop action, like without a shout, you know. Some of the moves that we saw in this match, let's go through them because there's a few. And the one I've got on my list first, I want to go the other way because I think that one is probably the most beautiful. But we had Rear Naked Joke, Samoa Joe. We had Cena. Did we have Cena do that? Or did we have Styles? I can't remember. Christopher Daniels. We had a beautiful Sweet Chin music from AJ Styles. Obviously, Shawn Michaels. John Cena hitting an RKO, but also going for a punt kick, which obviously he missed. If Randy Orton's missing the punt kick, so is John Cena. We had a choke slam. We also had a tombstone pile driver. Obviously, the Undertaker. Also, although the choke slam could actually pay a bit of homage to Kane, quite possibly. We had the skull crushing finale. The Miz, that was actually the first one. We had the Walls of Jericho, Chris Jericho, and then the one that hit here again one more time. Sister Abigail, Bray Wyatt. Cena hit it. The crowd popped. The loudest moment of the night, bar Rhea Ripley walking out, was that moment right there when Cena gets AJ in the Sister Abigail position, and he hits it. The crowd goes mental, and he looks up. He looks up when he finishes the move. He looks up, and you can see the tears in his eyes, man. The fireflies are coming out. Thank you, Bray. What a beautiful moment. A really, really beautiful moment. A storytelling to wrestling. A love story to wrestling. This is a match I'll show my children, you know. I'm going back and I'm going to watch this again. I need to watch this again. It was truly something. It was truly one for the emotions. It was truly one for everything, man. It could even be match of the year. It could be match of the decade. I'll go crazy with it, man. Two of my all-time favorites going at it and paying homage to the people who got them to where they currently are in their careers. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And the great thing is we've still got 4 appearances left from Cena at this point. And it's like, are we going to see more of this? What other wrestlers' moves could we see get involved in this, you know? Perhaps, what are we thinking? We could see a pedigree. We haven't seen, we saw Cena go for the pedigree, but we didn't actually see the pedigree get landed. Maybe a Batista bomb. There are a lot of incredible names that tied up with Cena over the years, and AJ Styles, but more so Cena, because obviously it's his tour. But there are a lot of people that Cena's locked horns with that we could do some throwback homage moves to, you know, and I am absolutely here for it, man. What a night. What an incredible PLE. Crown Jewel is up there with one of my favorites of the entire year. It was so good, start to finish. If Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton are your least favorite match of the night, we have got something. We've got a bloody amazing pay-per-view, okay? If Stephanie Vaquer, someone I believe is the best female wrestler in the world right now, alongside Io Sky and a few others, if that is the match that I least enjoyed, then that is a killer pay-per-view. I'm telling you right now, what a show from Crown Jewel. WWE, take your hats off. It moves to Monday Night Raw. We're keeping the momentum. We had Penta versus Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio successfully retains the Intercontinental Championship, and in what a way he did it. He had the hammer in his boot. He hit Penta. He put it back in his boot. It's classic Eddie Guerrero. That's what it is, man. It's classic Eddie Guerrero. More homage, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving the throwbacks that we're doing right now, especially from Dominic Mysterio, someone who has done a lot of this recently. You know, he saw the match against AJ where he used the boot. He hit him with the boot. I'm loving Dominic Mysterio paying homage to Eddie Guerrero right now. Rusev gets involved. We know that Rusev takes on Dominic Mysterio next week for the Intercontinental Championship. What else did we have? We had Kairi Sane versus Rhea Ripley. Obviously, we're getting Rhea Ripley again because the crowd was popping for Rhea Ripley once again. Mami did, the crowd love her, don't they? They obviously love her, but she had a really good match against Kairi Sane, which was quite a long match as well. Next week, we're going to get AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for the tag team titles. That is going to be a lot of fun. What else actually happened on Monday Night Raw? I'm trying to think of all the other stuff before the big stuff. So, the Vision kicked things off on Monday Night Raw, and Seth Rollins is saying how great and how proud of everyone he is over the last 6 months. How far Bronson Reed had come. He took everything that Seth said about Roman, and he beat Roman on the weekend against Crown Jewel. He's talking to Bron Breakker. He's super proud how over the last 6 months he has progressed, and he is just super happy of how his Vision have become this dominant force within the WWE over the last 6 months. Cue the end of the night. CM Punk wins the triple threat match between LA Knight, Jey Uso, and CM Punk. The winner of that is the number one contender to Seth WWE World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk comes out on top. I was a little bit confused about this because I assumed that CM Punk was already the number one contender after kind of what was going on there before the AJ Lee stuff. Nevertheless, CM Punk is your brand new number one contender for the title. Okay, after that, the Vision come out. CM Punk gets attacked, whatever. So does LA Knight. And Seth, they're all there. The hands are in the air, and the next thing that happens is wild. It's wild. It's not something I expected 6 months into this. Mania was when Paul Heyman turned on Roman Reigns and CM Punk, I guess, to then become and align himself with the Vision in Seth freaking Rollins. Bron Breakker spears Seth Rollins. The Vision is over, or at least Seth Rollins' part of the Vision is out. Bron Breakker spears Seth Rollins, the leader of the Vision. He's gone. He is gone. The World Heavyweight Champion has been cut. And Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Bron Breakker are the proudest guys in the world. A lot of people are saying, is it a ruse? Is it another ruse? People are also stating that Seth requires surgery on his rotator cuff. I think this is a legitimate injury. I don't think they're going to pull this once again. Why would they? Why would they pull this once again? I don't know what it gains anyone other than costing Punk the championship again, but I don't know why they would do that. I think the next time that Punk wins the championship, Punk actually wins the championship. I don't know what they're going to do with this. I really don't know what they're going to do with this. And that leads into Mark Moran's question, who asked, where does Seth go after the Vision betrayal? It's a really, really good point, man. It's a really, really good point. All I can think of is that it's not a ruse. I think he's going to have to just come back nastier than ever, man. Vengeful comeback. I mean, he's still the champion. He's not lost anything, but he has lost his goon squad, right? Where does he go now? He's lost Braun. He's lost Bronson Reed. He's lost Paul Heyman. He's going to have to go in a new direction, man. He's still the champion. We've got to remember this. He is still the champion. He has to defend the title in order to lose the title, or he can vacate it if he really is injured. But I don't think that's that. I don't think that is what we're going to do. He's had a decent run as the champion so far. He's a stable leader. This could be a reset for his character. That's what we could see. We could get a complete refresh. But my question is why was this pulled forward? Apparently, this wasn't the plan. We have had a shift on creative, and Seth Rollins is now no longer a part of the Vision. This apparently wasn't meant to go down for another at least 8 to 10 months, which is very, very interesting. Because that would take us to after Mania. You know, we're talking like middle of the summer kind of stuff. But Seth has to, unless he's injured, that's the only thing I can think. But then he would have to relinquish the title. So What do I think he does next? I don't know, because it's still too fresh, but I think a new direction, probably not with a faction anymore. He might drop the title, but I definitely do not believe that it is a ruse. I am 100% certain that this is not fake this time. Like, don't blow that horn too much is what I would say to WWE. Like, they had an incredible success and payoff after doing it last time at SummerSlam, where he came out, he dropped the crutches, and he made his way to the ring to take the belt off CM Punk, who held it for 10 seconds. That was picture perfect. You cannot do that again, though. You cannot do that every time there is a shift in creative. I'm telling you, I'm really hoping we don't see it go down that direction. Whilst I hope Seth is not actually injured, I also don't want to see, because he already has everything. So why would he do this now, you know? It's very confusing. It's a little bit fresh. I'm probably going to need a little bit longer to think about it, if I'm honest. Nevertheless, we move on. Ethan, who is the MVP of each decade? Ethan, that is a great question, my friend. Thank you for the question. Also, Mark, thank you for the question as well, my friend. Let's kick things off with the Attitude Era, man. 1990. A lot of great shouts, man. A lot of really great shouts. You know, you've got the likes of The Rock. You've got the likes of Foley. Actually, you know what? Do you know what? I'm going to have to give it to Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Attitude Era was his era, man. He was, his defiance, his beer swirling, it just resonated with fans. And I think the Austin 316 gimmick was it was a phenomenal, right? The sales, the what that did to wrestling at that point and getting the merch as big as it was, the popularity to new heights, I believe The Rock did massive things for wrestling, but I do believe Austin was slightly bigger in that sense. And he also had some incredible rivalries, man, like what really made the Stone Cold character. His stuff with Vince McMahon, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I wasn't around to watch it, but I was around to catch up on it after the fact. And let's face it, it's one of the most successful storylines in wrestling history, and people loved it. People resonated with it. People loved the Austin 316 phenomenon, and people really did kind of connect with Austin. You know, this beer drinking, defiant, does what he wants when he wants kind of guy, you know? If we're moving to the 2000s, we're going to have to go with the Doctor of Thugonomics, the Never Seen 17, Mr. John Cena. After the Attitude Era stuff went away and ended, Cena was such a vital role into that PG era, becoming the undisputed face of the WWE. And WWE needed it, man. Like, there was some tough times during Cena's biggest runs, and it was because of him that the company succeeded to the way it did. You know, from the Doctor of Thugonomics days, where he was like scraping the barrel of how good he really was, up to Super Cena. You know, Super Cena, his evolution from like this hip hop, gangster, rapping, you know, all that kind of stuff, to a family-friendly hero who helped the company transition into its PG era. And then it was at that point then where WWE needed him more than anything, right? Cena got WWE through one of the hardest times in terms of selling merch and doing as well as he made them do. A true workhorse as well, a true workhorse, a main eventer, someone that you are comfortable being your company guy, similar to how Cody Rhodes is right now, right? In the exact same sense, the pay-per-views he could sell, the ticket sales that he could sell. For the better part of a decade, John Cena was the man in the 2000s, and he is absolutely the guy who carried that company within what was considered a really, really tough time in not just WWE but wrestling, right? Move over to the 2020s. Is that how you say it? It's got to be the OTC Roman Reigns. His character development has gone absolutely crazy. As we know, the 1,360-day reign of being the world champion. I feel like he gave life to WWE again. You know, he so masterfully reinvented himself from a character that was pushed down our throats on a consistent basis. A lot of people were very, very much fed up of him, to then going on to becoming one of the most dominant and compelling title champions that we have ever seen in the modern, or maybe in the modern history, you know. The Bloodline stuff was so good. When you thought that the Bloodline stuff was running out, it wasn't. We added different elements to the mix. Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn, the Usos leaving, the War Games matches, driving viewership and interest. Roman Reigns has been a main event player for a long time. That gets him to this point right now that he's a global phenomenon right now. Roman Reigns is. He captivates fans, man. You see him when he walks out. You see when the music hits. The ones are in the air for the OTC. I'm going to say he's the biggest thing in WWE and has been for the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, the Cena stuff right now on the retirement tour and the merch stuff, no one's going to come close to that. But outside of that, Roman Reigns is absolutely the king of this era, at least so far, and we're only 5 years in. It's going to be hard on someone actually coming in and beating that, you know. LeBron is asking, who are my picks for the John Cena final match? LeBron is asking. It's heavily rumored that it's going to be Gunther, right? And I actually don't hate the Gunther shout. I thought for a long time that he has to put someone over, and I still believe he does. And I don't think Gunther needs this kind of passing of the torch moment as such that a lot of people are calling it. But I think it would be a really good way to cement Gunther back as a heel. We haven't seen Gunther since he lost the world title. And for him to get a win over the greatest of all time, John Cena, in his final match, would be pretty huge. We've not seen him since SummerSlam when he dropped the belt to Punk in what was a really, really good match. But I think a match with Cena really does, what do we call it? Accelerate, maybe? Accelerate is heel persona and put that sour taste in the fans' mouths, you know? I just think this could be a really good match for the ages, man. I think it'll be hard hitting. I think both guys come out well on it. You know, Cena versus Gunther is a match that many have talked about for years. It would be huge for Gunther. Another guy that I would now, someone who's not been thought of as such. I think Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio feels like Dom is had. He's been so hot for so long, and I think a match against John Cena, win or lose, is astronomical for Dominic Mysterio. I think if Cena really wants to put someone over, put over Dominic Mysterio, because that man needs a rocket. I would push him to the world title picture. Dominic Mysterio, also Jacob Fatu as well. Like there are a few names. Dominic Mysterio, absolutely. Let's do it for the IC title. There's a lot of implications with that as well. If Cena wins, then he gets the Grand Slam Championship. If he loses, man, he puts over Dominic Mysterio in a way that Dominic Mysterio could not get put over by anyone else, you know? Jacob Fatu, I would put a rocket on Jacob Fatu as well. Jacob Fatu is a star in the making. He is absolutely the future of the WWE. He's currently feuding with Drew McIntyre. And I'm interested to see where that goes, you know? But I think while Cena's about, there are a few names. Bron Breakker is another one, but I don't know if we've got 2 months to figure this out, right? Less than 2 months, less than 60 days. Would Bron Breakker be able to realistically do that in this time? Also with a WarGames matchup coming as well, if he's in that. My choices would probably be Dominic Mysterio first, Bron Breakker second, Jacob Fatu second, Bron Breakker third, and then Gunther fourth. But nevertheless, I would still like to see Gunther. I really do not mind Gunther being his last opponent. A lot of people do. I'm all right with it, you know? I'm all right with it. We got one final question, and that is from my friend Luke on Wrestling. Luke, thank you so much for the question, my friend. I hope you are doing well, buddy. I appreciate that a lot. Let me take a look at your question. You are asking WarGames predictions, and I actually wrote this down before I jumped on. And this was a little bit different because I've had this wrote down for a few weeks because somebody asked me a few weeks ago as well, but I didn't end up getting back to the question. We're going to do it right here. Men's WarGames match. Okay, this is what my now lineup would no, let's do women's actually. Let's start with the women. So I think women's is tough, right? Because there aren't really any. All the women are kind of just doing their own thing at the minute, I guess. Like the tag champs, you know, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I think they'll be in the match. AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, I think, and probably Io Sky on one team. The other team are probably just going to be kind of like their direct counters, I guess, right? So I guess Becky Lynch for AJ Lee. I think Asuka and Kairi Sane for Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. And then I also kind of think whoever is feuding with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Now, that could be... that could potentially be... it's also going to be heels, though. So if we look right now, we know that Sol Ruka and Zarya want a shot, but they're not heels, so I don't think we would put them in the match. Potentially Nia Jax and someone maybe she's teaming up with, maybe like a Lash Legend as such. So what I originally wrote down was AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Io Sky versus Becky Lynch, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend. Like I think that's a good match to make. I think Nia Jax and Lash Legend are very similar, and I could see them going after the World Tag Team titles if they end up becoming a tag team, that is, you know. The men's one I haven't really updated as such, because when I wrote this, there was not any beef as such between Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. So I mean, let's kind of go with what I originally wrote. So I originally wrote CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, LA Knight versus Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Brock Lesnar, and Austin Theory. Well, we could potentially put... People are saying online that they want to see Seth Rollins in the match to team up with Punk and Roman Reigns, but I don't like that idea because it doesn't suit. It just because they are just because Seth isn't a part of the vision anymore doesn't mean I want to see Seth align with guys that he absolutely hates. Two of which he main evented WrestleMania Night 1 with. Like I just have no appetite of seeing that, you know? I'm thinking like LA Knight, Jay, but then why would they team up with Seth? I'm struggling, Luke, man. I'm really, really struggling. I haven't really got an answer for the men's WarGames one. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer to see how things play out. But it's tough. We've got a lot of names there that are probably going to take... I mean, it's probably going to be against the Vision, right? I don't think we're going to see anything out of the MFTs. I don't think we're going to see anything out of the Wyatts. It's going to be against the Vision. Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, potentially Brock Lesnar, and potentially a fourth person, maybe like an Austin Theory. Who they go against, I really don't know. LA Knight, Jey Uso, Roman, but then I do not want to see Seth team up with either Punk or Roman Reigns. I just don't think it makes sense. Just because Seth gets beaten up by the Vision doesn't mean that Seth should now team with two guys that he passionately hates, you know? So it's interesting. I'd be very interested to hear other people's thoughts on how that's going to go, if I'm honest. Like, because I genuinely do not know. I've answered all the questions to the rest, but that one's a little tougher one. I can't lie to you. I'm going to think about it, maybe make a video on it. We will see. That does conclude all of the questions. I limited it down. I wanted to make it a little bit shorter of a podcast today, just because I've got to go out soon. But I'd like to thank you all so much for tuning in. This is a shorter episode of the podcast. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the love and support. As always, make sure you leave all your comments down below, the thumbs up, leave a like, share with your friends, and also just let me know some future questions as well. I'm recording these every Tuesday night, and they go out on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening to the Beyond the Mat podcast. I'm your host, Joshy Wrestling, and I will see you next week for episode number 10.